Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green and you're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. Got a little bit of an echo in this room, I just noticed. We've got some drums in here and some equipment in the background. I'm up here in the control room today, so hopefully there's not too much of an echo. So I'm driving my way to the studio this morning and I'm really excited. I want to do this video. I tweeted last night, for those of you that tune in to me on Twitter, tweet, please do, at AMTV Media. And I put out a tweet on the new Snowden trailer courtesy of Oliver Stone. And the tweet said something along the lines, just watch the new trailer for the Snowden movie, and although it was entertaining, it proves that Edward Snowden isn't who he says he is. Hashtag still working for the USA. Still working for the CIA. Still working for U.S. intelligence. Got a lot of retweets, a lot of interest, a lot of kind of fanfare around it. And it always amazes me how so few people actually know the truth about Edward Snowden. Even a couple comments too, like, Christopher, do you know who Oliver Stone is? Like he's on our team, right? Because he does these films at, Hollywood. He's, screenwriter, filmmaker, director. He's done films like Platoon and Wall Street, and he's working on Snowden. And he's got a lot of similar political views, you would think. But who is Oliver Stone? Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you a little bit of his history, which I think is not only pertinent, but tells you a little bit about him and where he might be coming from in terms of his media. Now, Oliver Stone was born, dad and mom. Mom was a Protestant, I believe, and his father was Jewish, a non-practicing Jew. So Stone actually comes from Silverstein. Now, what's interesting about Oliver Stone is he does a lot of controversial work, and he's been a very controversial figure for some time. In fact, he himself, although he is not a practicing Jew, he was raised Protestant, according to a lot of the resources that you'll read, is now a practicing Buddhist. But what's interesting is he's had a lot to say about the Jewish population. I mean, he's actually had to apologize on multiple accounts for insinuating and actually saying that basically, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, the Jewish mob controls media, Hollywood, politics, organizations like AIPAC, AIPAC. Again, these are not my words, and nothing I'm suggesting is anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish or anything like that. But this is Oliver Stone, Mr. Controversy, who actually has said in the past that one of the reasons there was so much focus on the Holocaust and not the 20 million Russians that died during World War II is because of Jewish control in media. And then he went on to apologize to the Defamation League a couple days later. This is the same guy. Now, keep in mind the propaganda web, right? This penetration of our brain. It's like they're having sex with our brain. They're just penetrating it on a daily basis over and over. All of this is intertwined with big media and Hollywood. Now, you can look at Oliver Stone two ways. Either he's just dumb, which is probably not the case. I would probably think he's, smarter than the average bear, or he's working for them, or maybe he's just a little bit of both. Maybe he actually believes the Edward Snowden narrative, and so he's putting it out in this very entertaining way. Now, let's talk about Snowden for a minute. Now, first of all, Snowden cannot be trusted. He is not who he says that he is. Okay, he worked for the State Department, for God's sakes. He was a U.S. intelligence asset, but now he's flipped. Yeah, now he can be trusted. All of a sudden, Edward Snowden can be trusted. He couldn't be trusted before because he was working for the U.S. government as a spy, but now he's working for you on your behalf. Yeah, that's right. You see, Edward Snowden is the very definition of a limited hangout. He's still working for the U.S. government. And there's this entertainment and there's this buzz, and directors like Oliver Stone may or may not know who Snowden really is. Maybe he's just making an entertaining movie. But again, the government, through the propaganda web and machine, puts that narrative out there so that it's propelled through what Stone calls Jewish-controlled media. That's not my words. That's Oliver Stone. So I want to be clear. I'm not anti-Semitic or anything like that. I've got a lot of Jewish friends, family that I love. I'm not personally Jewish, but again, nothing is coming from a hateful place. I'm just speaking to, honestly, what's really interesting. Oliver Stone, really Oliver Silverstein,
has reminded Americans and those around the globe who really controls media, politics, Hollywood. So Snowden can't be trusted. I mean, remember when he was at the Sheremetyevo airport for like a week, and every photog and intelligence agency on the planet was looking for him, and they just couldn't find him. It was like he disappeared. It was Where's Waldo? And then somehow he just, went into the coffers of the KGB. He's working for the Russians too. In fact, Russia and the U.S. is probably working together on this. Honestly, why would they do that? So let's ask that question. Why would they do that? Since I'm getting such an echo, I'm going to see if I can open this door. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, that does help. Why would Russia and the United States work together with Edward Snowden to propel this narrative that you're being spied on? First of all, we didn't learn anything new, which is the definition of limited hangout. I mean, what did Snowden tell us? He told us that the American people are being spied on by the NSA. Like we didn't know that before. How is that some kind of major revelation? And ask yourself this question: has anything changed post that revelation? And the answer is no. Nothing's changed. They've only put it, impregnated it, and pounded it, and penetrated it into your mind, penetrated it into your mind for a reason. Because it's all about control. It's about power. It's about fear. It's about the fact that you're being watched. Again, this serves the narrative of both the United States and Russia. This serves Obama's narrative, Hillary Clinton's narrative. This serves the State Department's narrative. This serves intelligence in Russia's narrative. This serves Putin's narrative, which is why they use Snowden as a chess piece. So Oliver Silverstein, he might not know. He might actually have good intentions and think, the story is it's just all the truth. Yes, Snowden, he's one of us, even though he was a spy before, but now he's on the good side. He's flipped. Not to say that there's not good people out there, not to say that can't happen. But is it likely? Let me ask you this. How many filmmakers like Oliver Silverstein out there in big Jewish media today, Hollywood, again, Oliver Silverstein's words, not mine, how many of these famous quote-unquote directors are doing investigative reports on Snowden, investigating whether or not he is who he says he is? Anyone doing a movie on that? Nope. In fact, I think we're one of the only media organizations that have actually put countless videos out on Edward Snowden, calling him a limited hangout and still an asset of the United States federal government and U.S. intelligence. I think we're the only one. No one's doing any kind of investigative reporting. Even Laura Poitras and Glenn Greenwald, their primary motivation was just to get the story out. What did the story do when they got it out? When they had the interview with Snowden? From their perspective, they were just there to get the story out. Now what's happened to Glenn Greenwald and Laura Poitras is they're just famous. They're now multimillionaires, and they're riding the coattails of this into Hollywood with the likes of people like Oliver Silverstein. Again, they might be, I think Greenwald is could actually be a CIA asset himself. He's probably smart. He might even know that Snowden isn't who he says he is, but just doesn't care. Again, his agenda is just to get the story out there. Laura Poitras' agenda is just to get the story out there. The State Department, our government, U.S. intelligence is smart. They put out these storylines in this narrative into the public sphere for a reason. Oliver Silverstein, might not know. He might actually think he's got good intentions. He's making a good film, that he's at war with the establishment, quote unquote, when in reality, the establishment's laughing. The propaganda machine is laughing because they control that narrative. That's how powerful propaganda is. I don't think people understand it. So I can look at a trailer of Snowden, and I don't even have to get too specific in my mind to know immediately, just quick gut reaction, that it's bullshit, that it's a limited hangout, that Snowden can't be trusted, just as I've thought before, that he's an intelligence asset, just like Julian Assange of WikiLeaks, an intelligence asset, just like Anonymous, an intelligence asset. It's not that there's not legitimate anonymous hackers out there for good, but it's also infiltrated by the CIA. I mean, come on, wake up. For God's sakes. This is what U.S. intelligence is. How do you think they propelled the narrative of ISIL over the last year or two when they didn't even exist before then? No American had ever heard of ISIS up to a couple of years ago when the State Department and intelligence agencies here in the United States and around the world wanted to make it an issue, even though they created it, just like they created Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda, and actually funded and armed people like Osama bin Laden and then killed him multiple times and then threw his body off a dead warship and then blew up the helicopter carrying SEAL Team 6 that allegedly killed him, right? Yeah, I'm supposed to believe all this freaking bullshit when it's all a lie. So Oliver Stone, interesting track record, interesting history. Oliver Silverstein. His dad, again, a Wall Street guy. Forget what his mom did. I think he attended Yale University for a while, then dropped out. He did a lot of film and work, on the Vietnam War. He's a great director. I like a lot of his films. Again, it's great entertainment. I'm going to go see the Snowden film. I want to see it. Looks great. The actors look great. The premise is great. But that's exactly what it is, entertainment. Nothing else. It's not the truth. It's propaganda. It's a lie. You can't trust the TV. You can't trust movies, Hollywood. I mean, listen to Oliver Silverstein himself. He's the one that said in the past and has had to apologize for it to the Defamation League for suggesting that Jewish groups like AIPAC control media and politics in Hollywood today. He says that. He's an insider. He's also Jewish. He might not be a practicing Jew. He's now converted to Buddhism, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not suggesting that. This is what he's telling us. The all too powerful are telling us this. It's right in front of our face. And this is what's so incredible to me, on a daily basis, is how it's just right there. It's right in front of all of us, yet most people just can't see it. They just look right past it. And that's how powerful the machine is. That's how powerful mainstream media propaganda is and entertainment propaganda is. The media is controlled by just a handful of people, just like Washington is and just like Wall Street is. And they're controlled, if you really look closely, by the same people. That's what's really interesting about it. The Dennis Hasterts of the world. Former Speaker of the House who just liked to rape young boys. Freaking devil worshiper, for God's sake. Disgusting. These are the politicians in Washington, D.C. representing you. I believe Oliver Silverstein had to shoot the Snowden movie outside of the United States because there was mass surveillance while he was shooting the film. And yes, that probably was the case, but it doesn't mean that the U.S. government didn't create that narrative to begin with. It's called psychological warfare. You see, psychological warfare, I was talking about it with our post-producer, Alex, who'll more than likely be post-producing this video today unless we just keep it in raw format. The whole idea of psychological warfare and implementing it is to skew reality, fiction to nonfiction, what the truth from non-reality, to blur the lines so it's so confusing that you don't know what the truth is anymore. That's the very definition of Snowden. That's the very definition of Julian Assange. That's WikiLeaks. That's the very definition of this psychological mind-F, which is what it is. That's what psychological warfare is. Why do you think they get your children so young and put them in front of a television? Why do you think they get them into public schools so young? The earlier they start, even the messaging with babies, because you've got TV on in the background and stuff, you don't think about it, the commercialization. Buy Coke, get Coca-Cola, get a car, 0% financing on, on this new thing, Cheerios. All these things. It's just brainwashing. That's all it is. We're all being used by the system. We are all being controlled. I actually find the whole field of intelligence, fascinating. Some of you asked before, well, how do we know you're not intelligent? You don't, to be honest with you. You don't. I'm not. I'd find it hard to believe that I was. If I am, I don't know about it, but you don't. See how convoluted the psychological warfare web is? That's the very definition of psychological warfare. Now, I'm not intelligence. I find it fascinating. We're part of the media war, though. Absolutely. This is alternative media. We're a part of that war. We're a part of that propaganda war. Again, all messaging, all media is propaganda. But the propaganda here at AMTV is truth. It's the underground. I'm saying things that I can't say anywhere else. One of the reasons why we've launched our own distribution network, which is what AMTV On Demand is. I can't say everything I want to say online. Just like Matt Drudge says, the Googles and the Facebooks of the world, these corporate tech titans and giants, That's the digital ghetto. They control everything. You know, I have certain videos that I'll put up on Facebook and they won't let me air them. It's just something in the algorithm, something that I said, a word, a keyword, something like that, and I just can't air it. I can't get it out to the public. It's why we've got to create our own distribution. It's why Matt Dredge has his own distribution. It's why the Supreme Court is actually trying to take that away from him. You know, God forbid he has a website that, you know, moves millions of viewers a day that, you know, is able to propel a narrative counter to the establishment media, which, by the way, is dying like a dead freaking dinosaur right now because they can't make any money. Yeah, a lot of these social media companies can't even make any money. You know, look at Twitter, for example. Stock got rocked the other day. You know, it just shows you what a scam Wall Street is. All these IPOers are the ones that make money. Jack Dorsey makes money. You know, the CEO, he did that revolving door there. He made money. All the insiders at Twitter make money, but the company doesn't. The shareholders get shit. They don't get anything. This is how deep the rabbit hole goes. Again, Snowden, not who he says he is. Still working for the USA. Still a U.S. intelligence asset. In fact, I think likely Russia and the U.S. are working together on this one. I know that's hard for people to believe, but they are. Again, plant the seed of that fear, that mind control in the masses of the population, and then do nothing about it. Yeah, continue spying. Notice how nothing's changed? They haven't stopped spying on you. They just wanted you to know that they're spying on you. If I was intelligence, it's exactly what I would be doing. It's exactly the narrative that I would be propelling out to the mainstream, which is why I know it's not legit. It's why I know it's bullshit. It's why I know the Snowden trailer, although entertaining, and the movie, although entertaining, and I'll probably go see it, bullshit. Well, I likely think Oliver Silverstein's in on it too. Again, take it from him, not me. Jewish-controlled media, Jewish-controlled Hollywood, Jewish-controlled politics, Jewish-controlled Wall Street. Again, nothing I'm saying is anti-Semitic. Nothing I'm saying is hateful or anything like that. I've got friends, loved ones, etc., that are Jewish. But this is what these figures are telling us. This is what Oliver Silverstein is telling us. Again, don't take my word for it. This is controlled by just a handful of people. Global politics. The Israeli-Palestine issue, which I haven't really talked a lot about, it's very complex. You know, I don't talk about everything that I don't have a very firm stance on. I'm not going to just share out, you know, random bullshit with the world, but very complicated, complex issues. It's just fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And we just continue to be mind effed. That's the truth. I'm Christopher Green. Get it out everywhere. Make it viral. Hard hitting it in your face. Put a comment, question in the box below, and I will respond. This is the Underground, AMTV On Demand. Peace.